wallet is sobbing. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hall now. It is breaking down, crying.
It turns out that Attila, the arrogant so-and-so, he's got a fake hammer.
Oh, a fake?
Yeah.
Whoa.
As I say, dick.
Welcome to episode 100 of the Early News Podcast.
Yeah.
Woo. So I've got a bottle here. I'm gonna explode my microphone.
You go. You don't need side effects. It's just full on. There we go. The real thing.
Yeah, exactly. Now I have a cork pop for future use, and a pouring noise. I don't know if you can hear that.
To go along with the several dozen microphone whacks that I've given us in the past, John. So,
yeah, they're always fun.
and we said on the Patreon thing.
Start.
Yeah, having said it on the Patreon thing yesterday, I haven't hit the microphone for ages. I hit it twice yesterday.
Before we started before we started the episodes, though. Well, the first one definitely was right at the start. Before we started, it was like boom. Yeah, so episode 100. Did you ever think we'd get there?
No.
And definitely not within 2 years of starting. Not even 2 years. 16th of March, 2023.
Even with the obviously stellar talent we bring, I wasn't sure we'd get to 100.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, so what we're going to do is we're going to basically go back over the last 99 episodes and pretty briefly, but talk about any highlights, lowlights, any behind the scenes stuff we remember, that kind of stuff. 680 days since the first episode, and we have approximately 10,605 minutes of recorded podcast.
Wow.
Plus the extra Patreon stuff, so there's another 10 or 12 hours onto that, or a bit more.
It's all right. I was going to make a really bad joke. It's probably a bit late for it all now.
Come on, that's on brand.
Go, it's 100. You do it.
I was going to say, you could say we've got 99 episodes and this ain't one, but this is the 100th episode.
That should be the intro. We can scrap the other stuff.
That was a bad joke, in fairness. Wow.
So that's 178 hours of podcasting, or just over 1 week if you played it from start to finish.
Wow.
So
there you go,
so
listeners. If you've only recently started, that's the thing to do.
It's a solid week of content. So,
and only 40% of that is me talking about customs and factions. Yeah.
And there's another week of solid content of that stuff on the cutting room floor. Definitely from one of these episodes. So, what do you boys think of our progress? Do you think we have made progress? Think we've got better, worse, stayed the same?
We have. I listened to the first episode on my lunch break this afternoon because it's only half an hour, and it sounded like we were in a cave.
Bad.
Which was an interesting thing. It's like, wow, we probably thought that sounded brilliant at the time, but listening to it now is like, whoa. Yeah. But there's already the chemistry there. There's already, what we've carried on since then, I think, the sort of banter and all that sort of stuff. So,
yeah, I think that stuff, obviously was there a bit because we'd met at Legion's Con and all that. Although we'll get to the first in-person episode. I think that was a bit weird for me. And not like weird as in you guys are weird. It's just weird to do it in person and
sat around the room. Yeah.
It was a little bit strange. I think it's clearly improved, be it from, I think, just the way we kind of are comfortable about doing it and kind of getting on with the chat and not being too nervous about stuff, and also then of course I've learned stuff along the way when it comes to editing and putting the show together, so that also helps. But most of it is just doing it. So if you were ever thinking of starting a podcast or yourself, I think just go and do it, because the first episode will be not the best one you ever do, and that's okay, but you have to do the first one to get to 100 like us. So shall we sorry, Rich?
was about to say, go for it, everybody. Start your own podcasts, but not on this topic because this is ours. So back off.
Well, there's 101 Legions podcast now. Maybe we should set the scene for back when we started. So, kind of Legions Cast was the one audio podcast that was going that was specifically just about Legions. I mean, there was some other podcasts that touched on Legions from time to time, and the My Wife's Gonna Kill Me podcast, they usually had chat about Legions in most of their episodes. But those guys actually started then Legions Cast to spin off, and that's kind of spun through multiple different iterations of hosts, and it's now really a YouTube show, not even a podcast anymore. And it's a bit irregular these days. It was more regular last year, I think, but there's a bunch of shows since then. Obviously Jesse and Curtis were already doing the Shooting the Shelf, Just Shelve It show, and we had the Legion's Lair and the Legion's Lounge. Those guys were going. But since then, there's a bunch more. Obviously, the Mythical Enablers are going. I'm going to forget one now, so this is terrible. New to Mythics, that's a show.
Risky. When you started, I was like,
yeah. I should have made a list. Latin
Legions.
Latin Legions, yeah, that's right.
The
Legions Ladies, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Not to forget. I just think of all the ones that had a live show.
Still, most of them are YouTube shows. There's only 2 regular podcasts, which is Mythic Enablers and us. My wife is going to kill me. It's more YouTube these days than podcast. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's never going to upload another podcast, are they? So,
yeah. So, yeah, we put our show on YouTube now as well, but it's just another platform. We also distribute it still through the podcast feed and try and do it in a way that's suitable for audio listeners. And it's pre-recorded, so most of the time, so there isn't a listener chat. It's more of a straight-through type of thing. Mm-hmm. And we have done stuff like audio stories and that kind of stuff, so which is a bit different and pretty cool. Shall we start looking through the previous episodes, because we have 99 to get through, so we'll have to do them in fairly short order. So I've just popped up there on the screen for you, Mal. I'm going to read the descriptions. So we recorded episode 1 and 2 on the same evening, didn't we? If you remember back, we did kind of 2 different recordings, and episode 1 was a half an hour introduction where we just kind of talked about ourselves and all that. Well, Rich just listened today, so I mean, you tell us, Rich.
We did. We talked about, it took us about 15, 20 minutes before we actually mentioned what the podcast was about. Yeah. We just started talking as if people knew us anyway, sort of thing. But it was just, this is how we met. We collect these things. Here we go.
Yeah, a bit of background on ourselves. I do remember that, yes.
And I think the one thing I learned from the first episode is that you can kind of prepare a little intro or kind of write something down, but as soon as you record it, it sounds fake. It sounds prepared. So since then, I've stopped doing that, and if I do have some sort of prepared intro, I just use bullet points or a couple of prompt words on my notes here to the side. And just go around that. It seems to sound more natural. So maybe that's just because I'm not very good at making pre-prepared kind of written stuff sound natural. So there you go. But I found a way, I hope, to make it work. Episode 2. So I said we've made it to episode 2. Well, yeah, we did them both on the same night, but of course people were not to know. And we actually released them 2 days apart, so we were very ambitious at the start. No, I think we just wanted to get stuff out there.
Yeah.
And on this episode, we get into the regular flow of Legion's news, pre-orders, shipping, latest scores, and customizing. We take a look at some other things going on in the toy collecting world, including Kickstarters for Savage, Crucible, and Biblical Adventures. So that was already a kind of a good framework for a lot of the shows we've done. Kind of has been that kind of similar stuff. Yeah. You see the episode art at the start was just
I was going to mention that.
I kind of I kind of put this together from the photo. The picture of me is one Travis Bowles took at his booth at Legion's Con with me and a bunch of Legion figures from his table. And the other picture is actually a picture of you two sitting opposite me at a sports bar in New Jersey.
Buffalo Wild
the last night we were there.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So kind of black and white of those, and tried to do this kind of European-y font for the description and the text. And while it kind of looks cool, it's hard to read, and yeah, it didn't last that long. We'll get to there. So then we got to episode 3, which was the reveals from Outpost Zaxius, Cosmic Legions, and All Stars 5 arrived in hand. So we already had a lot of stuff going on at the start, and of course we liked it. It was fantastic, and and we've been going on this long and we still don't have the game. It says, has the Mythic Legions games team got their tactics all wrong when it comes to shipping? Oh wow, it started in episode 3. Motu Masterverse all of a sudden looks like a line it should have been from the start. And how come the Toddfather can't make huge vehicles without inflicting too much damage on our wallets? So we were doing a lot of other stuff than Legions at the start.
Yeah, it's interesting.
There's a pattern here, though, isn't it? Talking about the game and it's still not here. Talking about Savage Crucible Kickstarter, 2/3 of the figures still aren't here. There's lots of stuff that talked about then that's still hasn't arrived.
Still going yet. I suppose 2 years not long in toy collecting terms, really, when it comes to pre-orders. And we said we'd descend into a carry-on film by the end of the episode. So maybe worth listening to the end of episode 3, see what was going on there.
That's all Mal, whatever it is. He's the smutty champion. But yeah.
Mal's first dad joke. Then we had episode
4.
episode 4. So it was just me and you, Mal, on this one. Rich couldn't make it. And we chat about All Stars 5, our favourites and slightly less favourites. So we're definitely fence sitting there already, 2 of us between us. We didn't have Rich, we were really just sitting on the fence. We were talking about what we wanted to do with the Heads from the Heads pack, and we speculate about All Stars 6 and the future of, well, I said 2.0 figures, but I mean version 2 figures here, and what we'd like to see. So episode 5 was with the Emil. This was another one you still weren't available, Rich, and we had Emil on for a chat. He talks about collecting an artistic background, what brought him to the Legions community, and approach to customizing. He also spills the beans on his latest customs plans for Legions Con 23. So that seems like a long time ago now.
Talk about Legions Con 23.
And we found out what makes Emil cry. So if you ever want to know that, the answer is there. And I remember that one because I was in Ireland actually on holidays. It was the Easter holidays, and I thought it was a great idea to do it from the car because it'd have no noise from the kids in the house. The kids were still probably a bit too noisy back then, and the house is much smaller there, so I wouldn't have found a room in the house to get a bit of privacy. And my laptop battery was kind of gone after about an hour, so that's why, pretty much. And the audio was not great in the car, even though I thought it was going to be, because I've seen people record stuff in their cars. It sounded okay, but it wasn't great. So, and that was, I think, the last episode where I didn't really properly fully edit it. I only kind of spot edited the first 5 ones. If there was really mistakes and that I knew about, I went through and looked for them. But after that one, and I didn't level the audio properly. And then I learned all about that between 5 and 6 because I listened back to 5 and I was like, oh crap, I need to do something here. So 6 is where it gets good or better audio wise. And I think 6 is where I would start in the podcast if you were going back. Because that's where we start with the lore and the Mythic Legions factions. And that doesn't seem like too long. That's episode 6, guys. That seems like not that long ago, really. I still have my notes.
It seems a long time ago to me. My memory is so bad for everything these days.
Yeah. So in part 1, we cover the first 6 factions of what do we like about them, which faction do we dislike, despite the fact that we like nearly all the figures from it. So that was Etheron, I think, for me. We discussed favorite figures from each faction, as well as the most underrated figures that deserve a bit more love. And once you've devoured part 1, look out for part 2 coming next week, as in our usual Friday schedule.
Might be interesting to go back and do something similar middle of this year, maybe, when we've got a few more figures released.
I think so, yeah. We should take when we get Necronominus and All-Star 6 in, we could definitely start to look back at the factions and maybe even take into account, Rising Suns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a kind of a full kind of extra wave full of figures from each faction gone through. I remember that episode 6 because towards the end of it, Rich, you completely dropped out. You had internet problems, and I remember it because we had to, on the next episode, go back over one of the factions, and it was actually the vampires, the Lithius Brood. Which
it was then, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was so unfortunate. I remember it was so unfortunate because you'd said that was your favorite faction before we recorded, and I was like, no, he's gone, and me and Matt are talking about. So that's why we kind of cut it into 2 parts at that point. But it was just as well because it was like an hour and a half and 2 hours for episode 7, which is Factions Part 2, and we discussed what factions we'd like to see, also what factions we'd like to see in the realm of Mythos, and the many factions of Rich's custom
Were there snake
collection.
men and fishmen by any chance?
Yeah, this is the episode that stands out to me, John, because you put yourself on mute and basically just fell asleep while I was talking about my custom factions. It's like, wow, okay. Well,
screw it tails off at the end. Rich still talking.
Yeah, I think I put a bit. I put a bit after the outro where Rich is still talking, and I just kind of faded out. Yeah,
I could have talked for another hour that evening. I was in the zone.
Yeah.
It's good though.
That happens. It's good.
We'll have to do another one of my factions episodes. Rich's faction.
Definitely.
We did Red Hellions more recently. But yeah. The lore of Mythic Legions was number 8, and we dive deep into the lore beginning from the beginning of time in Mythos to the present day. Discuss the major events, so whose jealous husband messed everything up for the peaceful early inhabitants? Do you remember that? From what did the heroic faction leaders derive their names? How important are the female characters? What is the coolest castle in Mythos? Is it all just a big family argument? And would we prefer a wave of the great beasts rather than a huge dragon? Well, we're kind of getting both.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the lore episodes, this one and the next one. They were really good fun.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, and they also, I was following the lore always, but not as deeply as at the end of these episodes, when you have to really dig in and you realize you can't just have a kind of a basic knowledge of the lore when you're actually trying to do it on a podcast. You have to actually read it up. And I remember getting every single bio I copied into a Word document, and I got an app that text to speech, and I listened to it like 3 or 4 times on my headphones, kind of in the day or 2 before this episode, because I knew I just wasn't going to read it. I'm too attention deficit with my phone for that these days. So that's the way I had to do it. So I had a kind of a robot voice reading it to me, which was a little bit weird, but the message, the information got in, and I made a couple of notes, obviously, for the show. So yeah, I had this little black notebook that I had for the first maybe 20-25 episodes where I put all my notes in, and since then I've started to just use the notes app on my phone. I kind of got high tech in the middle of it, but it was also because I made more notes, I think, at the start. And then episode 9, we wrapped up our conversation on the lore, and we did the reaction to the All-Stars 6 reveal. So that was the voting reveal for All Star 6. So you can see in the background of the art there. And this is I think the next one is the last one with the old art. So the next ones are...
Was that episode where we actually found out who people have voted for All Stars?
No, that was where we were talking about the options.
What was available.
Yeah.
Because I badmouthed Clavin a lot in this episode. Yeah. And he still got picked.
Didn't it? Yeah.
This is when you started to be heel rich, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
It was a turn, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you always were, but this is when I think you realized this works on the podcast. You need to lean into this. So episode 10, we had one of our kind of 3D sculpting, well, I don't know, would you say heroes, but one of our definitely person we have a lot of admiration for on that side of things. That was Seba Dom. And we had a nice interview with Seba, who launched Planetary Dog Toys, who are unfortunately on the way to finishing, but that's unfortunately for us, but not for Seba, because he is going from strength to strength, I think, in the toy design world, and he's involved in more toy lines now and stuff like that. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed interviewing Seba because he hasn't really done much elsewhere, sort of thing. So it was really good to get his take on, what makes good sculpting and his background. It was really interesting.
Very interesting interview. Worth if people want to go back and listen to it. It's a good one.
So then I was asking him how was this okay for the kind of episode art, and he was like, yeah, that's cool, but you need a proper logo. so he was like, he was on and on to me, that we need to get a proper logo. So he actually sent me details of a friend of his in Argentina who I contacted, and I think we had it for the next episode. If you go forward, Mal, yeah,
we did. Yeah.
In between recording with Seba, and then we designed the logo with Seba's friend in Argentina, and he did it for us, and we paid him and all that kind of good stuff. And I think he got a bit of everything. That is the sword with the T for the, and he got the cosmic gun for the L in Your Legions. So yeah,
I really like that. I have no memory of us using somebody in Argentina, so clearly I'm getting old.
Yeah, this was I think I was in contact with him, and I was then talking to you guys as well.
Yeah, about which versions of things we liked.
Yeah. But I guess you were just, Grant, whatever. So episode 11, so this is interesting description. So this week on the Religion Podcast, we failed to prepare, but do not fail. So this was the first episode, I think, where we're like, I don't know what we're going to do here, guys. And then the Monkey King was revealed, and we just talked on about that. And I hadn't definitely done no prep for this episode, but we had a good chat about Monkey King and the reveal. And obviously you brought up the monkey, which I hadn't seen, the show, and that was a revelation for me.
Good. So if anyone hasn't seen it, watch it.
Currently on Amazon Prime, at least in the UK version, for 2 seasons of it. So.
Yes. Next, episode 12. That's a very infamous episode. So that's the one we had to re-record.
Oh, Jesus.
So we had done this fantastic episode, and when I got the audio files back from the former service that we were using, Rich's audio was just silent. Like he was on mute for the whole conversation. It was crazy. There was just nothing I could do. There wasn't even like a kind of a bundled up audio file with just a kind of mix of our voices that I could kind of work with. It was just me and Mal talking and then blank spaces. So I had to do it again. So this was our redo of episode 12, and we talk about All Star 6, including lots of wild speculation. I see we haven't gone away from that on what the newly revealed figures could be.
And while it was lots of good content, oh my God, doing it a second time.
Yeah, it kind of killed the mood of it all.
It was just like, just get through it.
Yeah.
And this was where Curtis started to, he was having fun with us, but he was starting to post that, oh yeah, look, we've just given up now, you know. we've missed, obviously we couldn't publish an episode that Friday, and we missed a Friday, so it's over. Those guys are done, you know, they burnt their match. So that made us even more determined, and here we are. Episode 13 then, Mal, was the week before the new figures in All-Star 6 were revealed. We go through some of the wide and varied options available from 3D part suppliers to take your skeletons to the next level. And there's also an announcement of our first ever giveaway and more information on the Covenant of Shadow. So we had talked about the Covenant of Shadow and the lore, and I think Jeremy had been in touch with us then to send us some pages from the book that he had actually talked about on his show at some stage. And so we got a little bit more background on the Covenant of Shadow that we were actually speculating about. So, and Seba had given us a kit. He's one of his
Poseidon kit.
Poseidon kit, that was it, yeah. And he was a kind of a sea.
Thomas.
Last one, that didn't he? Yeah.
Thomas Rydberg, wasn't it? Yeah. Yup. Episode 14 then was Thomas and Nico Dinkela. Thomas Rydberg, Nico Dinkela. And we talked about the All-Star 6 reveals, and then we talked about those guys and how they got into the line, their favorite figure faction. And we go through each new reveal and why there's really only one correct answer as to which is the best. Which was that? Scally Bone Splitter, maybe? Or
possibly.
It's probably Thrasis if you were doing it.
Yes, that could, yeah. Yeah,
both of which are wrong. It's Sir Andrew, but you know.
I mean, Sir Andrew's cool, but now after so many nights recently, you know, I think I'm looking forward more to the dwarf skeleton for a bit of variety.
You looking forward to the gnomes versus the fungi people, John?
Nope.
G-Con, here we go.
We also talk about ordering strategies and how we are currently surviving the mountain of strain on our wallets. Well, that hasn't changed.
It's gotten worse.
It definitely has got worse.
All right, episode 15, we talk about the current open Legions pre-orders. What's our most anticipated from each wave? What's the sleeper figures and future grails? So there you go. Pre-orders galore with the $sign. 16 is one of my favorite episodes, Figura Obscura Monkey King. I also did a lot of audio beds on that episode. So there's a clip from there's the monkey theme tune. I think I did the Monty Python skit about the Mythic Legions tactics. Everything is
So was that the episode where you had it in hand, John?
Yes, I think me and Mal.
Yeah, because me and Mal had mentioned it briefly and we got told off, didn't we, for not being enthusiastic enough by a certain co-host.
Right. Me.
But you, yes.
Don't remember.
Well, somebody has to crack the whip the odd time. I don't remember that, but probably. I don't remember when I'm being an asshole. Episode 17 then, we need to get moving on these. We reviewed the Mythic Legions tactics figures, so they are turned up. That was a big saga. Yeah, running through the first 16 episodes was a saga of the Mythic Legions tactics figures. Mine were basically stuck in customs for months.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which became quite funny, but
yeah, and it actually was a FedEx Luxembourg problem in the end, but we had no clue what it was. And we take a long, hard look at our own collections in preparation for the arrival of many pre-orders in the second half of 2023, including the much anticipated Cosmic Legions.
It's feeling like it might be a time to take a long, hard look at the collection again and see what can go and what want to keep.
18 then was Jeremy Gerard from Four Horsemen Studios. So we talked to Jeremy, talked to all things Legions, customizing Legions Gone holidaying in Europe.
Always a good episode with Jeremy on.
Yeah, that was a good one. He gave us a lot of time. He was very enthusiastic and good on that one. So definitely worth a listen back.
Yeah, definitely.
19 then, we got our Cosmic Legions Wave 1 all-in deliveries. Probably all of us. Who knows? Rich, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, weren't you still going direct at this point, though, I think?
I was, but also I seem to be getting them after you guys for some reason.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that was an ongoing joke for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then, who makes the cut for the favourite figure? Does Mal choose them all as his favourite? Will the Templars of... Oh, here we go. Will the Templars of Doom bankrupt Rich? There's also chat about Legion's Con Day 2 exclusive wall tour. So they revealed the wall tour. Then episode 20 was this week we managed to get together in person and record a fun chat. And that was weird. That was, so the running time on that was, okay, it was 1 hour 22, but that felt really difficult for me. I don't know why. Compared to this year at Legion's Con when we did the one in the room, that was like straightforward, simple, really easy. But this, I think, was the first time, setting it up and whatever. And we were just so used to doing it over the internet, and we still probably weren't super good at it. So it was a little bit of like, I just thought it would be way easier, and it actually was probably just as difficult, if not more difficult,
perhaps
because of
little bit of, it's just an unfamiliar scenario and situation to be doing it in as much as anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I also think there was a lot of stuff that had gone on that we talked about, and then that was a week when there wasn't much news and there wasn't much talking points.
Yeah.
So we could have done an hour of just banter, but so anyway, but it was fun. It was great to meet up in person. Obviously, I was going over to Ireland, and I decided to make it a trip of it, and I drove across UK, stayed a couple of nights in Mal's, and Rich came up, and we had a great time, to be honest. Must do that again.
Yeah, definitely.
That was really good.
You guys are going to be doing that tomorrow night?
Well,
we are. Yes,
not exactly, but yeah,
not maybe not as heavy on the night out, but yeah.
No, I'm presenting a conference the following day, so I can't go as heavy as we did that night because that was a big night.
Which is why Rich is looking quite clean cut and professional. Yeah,
all good.
Look at that. 21 then recorded it from Ireland, from my old bedroom, and that was Cosmic Legion's Lore Part 1. So we get started on Cosmic Legion's lore, but we also chatted about a lot of the STDCC 2023 reveals. So the Cosmic Legion's chat only started at 37-minute mark. But yeah, we break down the 5 circles of Cosmerium. So if you really want to get into that, I think we did quite a good breakdown of it there.
That's good you were in your old bedroom when you did it, because whenever I'm in Wales and we record these, I'm always in my old bedroom as well. So
there you go. That's cool.
It's clearly a thing now. Yeah.
You'll have to do it at your mum's place, your mum and dad's place once, Mal,
Yeah, well, maybe a Christmas episode where I was sleeping in the old room.
There you go. That'd be cool. Episode 22 then was Dwarfs with Grian and Anthony. The Dwarfs of Mythos. So we went through all the dwarfs and obviously chatted to those guys, and it was our longest episode yet, and Anthony held on to that longest episode for a while. And it was also our most popular episode in the first year in terms of downloads and stuff, so that was interesting.
People do love their dwarves.
They're more popular than you think. So we did get
together. Do we know how many dwarf jokes Mal did in that episode?
I don't think
they're a bit short for this. They can't reach that.
He did one on the first episode, didn't he?
I did. There was the one about couldn't reach
the short arms. Yeah.
That was it. That's why they seem to be the lowest selling, is because they can't reach the money in the bottom of the pockets or something like that.
Episode 23 was Cosmic Legion's Lore Part 2. So we continued our breakdown, went through the bios, and there was plenty of talk of latest scores, 3D parts, and excitement about the upcoming cosmic reveals and whatever else will unfold at PowerCon 23, which was the last PowerCon to date.
Was this the episode where you did the meme of me and Monica from Friends when I was talking about the ring numbers, and I was like, maybe they should go to this ring and that ring, and then you just like, yeah,
that's one of the favorite things I've done. Yeah,
that doesn't seem that long ago, to be fair.
It might not be in this one, but
it would make.
I'm thinking
it was either this one or the previous, so the episode 21. So it was one of those two, because they were the two where we really got into cosmic lore. So, immediately when I was editing that episode, I thought of that. That just reminded me of that instantly, and I was like, how do I do this? And then I realized I could just get that other clip and kind of clip them together. It worked perfectly, I think. And I did repost that reel again on Instagram more recently as well. I think I'll do that at least once a year from now on. And then episode 24 was more Cosmic Legions. We get our teeth into Cosmic Legions Ox Crew Book 1, Thraxon. So that's a wave that we haven't got in hand yet. And also All-Star 6, which we had talked about previous to this episode. We haven't in hand yet. Can you guess our favorites? We also have a brief chat about what we saw online from PowerCon outside of Legions. So a little bit of non-Legions talk there. 25, we get Rich's impressions of Cosmic Legions Wave 4. So you mustn't have been on 24 then, is what I get from that. Plus we start the road to Legions Con 23 with an update of our own preparations and plans. So there you go. 26 was a crossover with Legions Lounge. I kicked off our road to Legions Con interviews. So we had a chat with Bill, Trevor and Nate on their plans for Legions Con 23 and much more. So that
the
was
road
fun.
to Legions Con seemed like a really good idea at that point.
It did,
and then by the end of it was like, shoot me in the head. As much as I've loved all the guests, like, no.
That's because we did too many. We were doing too.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
which is why we're at 100 now, as opposed to closer to the 2-year anniversary.
What people obviously and the people who've been on the show all know is that, that we have to switch because we're dealing with a lot of the Americans in a different time zone. We have to switch it to the weekends, don't we? And it eats into your spare time a lot more doing that than doing it in an evening when what else are you likely to do? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we record normally at like 9 p.m. my time, 8 p.m. your time Wednesday.
Yeah.
For all these Road to Legions Con episodes, they were Saturday and Sunday at around
sometimes
8 or 9
multiple episodes a day as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the difference there, and that was also another reason why we started the podcast together initially, is because we were all on this side of the Atlantic, and that means we were always, in the same time zone, which made it way easier for logistics. And then it was obviously great that we get on and it worked. So perfect. Episode 27, listener questions. So that was a big one. We got a load of listener questions. I think that was when I realized that people actually listened to the show. I mean, I could see that people were listening to the show in terms of the downloads and all that, but that people were actually engaged with the show. This was one of the episodes where I was like, whoa, we got a load of questions. So it's fun. A scone controversy came out of this.
There's no controversy. It's a scone.
Yeah, I was getting more adventurous with the art, although it's not quite up to today's standard just yet. And then 28, we had Bill Mancuso and Iz Ramirez.
Still one of my favourite episodes.
Yeah, I love this episode.
I don't think I stopped laughing for the whole episode.
Yeah, probably just as well we weren't doing YouTube back then, because the whole episode is lying on his recliner with his phone
just
up
like
against. And we basically saw half his nasal hair for most of the conversation.
Yeah. I think I could still draw with my eyes closed a map of his nasal hair.
Yeah, so nothing was off the table except lunch. Of course, we don't want to make a mess. And we had met those guys together twice during Legions, like properly twice during Legion's Con. 22, when we all first met, and we went for lunch with them in Jersey Mike's, of course.
Yeah.
Where else? Yes. So we're up to episode 29, Joe Vassapolo. And this was Joe's kind of origin story that we got into. This was supposed to be with Nate Barch, and Nate had internet issues as we were trying to get all sorted. So Joe did it on his own.
Joe was great though, wasn't he?
He was great,
He stepped up and, filled any gap left by Nate. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's a really good show.
And the description, what happens when you knock on a door and the unexpected happens? That's a draw you in, yeah. We found out the answer to this and much more with our guest this week, Joe Vassapolo, a longtime action figure collector, customizer, and more recently a key member of the team at the Four Horsemen Studios.
And he's become even more key since then, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Joe, I'll go back and listen to it, but Joe knocked on the door and he is where he is today. So episode 30 was with Len LaGuardia, Patrick Boyle, Dennis Derby, and Brian Lynn. So this was one of the first ones where we did, I think, Len and Patrick together, and then Dennis and Brian together, and made it into one episode. So we were doing then an hour interview and an hour interview. We had kind of hour slots. Remember your famous spreadsheet, Rich?
Oh, yes. One of many famous spreadsheets, let's be clear on that.
Yes. We still have a spreadsheet that we use to organize the initial episodes. I don't think it's been updated in a while.
No. About a year.
Yeah. Shared drive. Yeah, so that was a good chat with those guys. You all know them. So, yeah. Great to chat to them. And then 31 was Jesse, Curtis, and Sean. So, continuing the road to Legion's Con. So, we catch up with Curtis, Jesse, and Sean Scavarna. And Sean is a talented artist, runs a Motu podcast called Legends Grayskull, as well as appearing on Off-World with Jesse and Curtis. And Jesse,
he does some part-time work pretending to be Cornboy as well.
He does, yes. And we've subsequently done a lot of crossover shows with them on their channel, and we've done the Ted Lasso stuff. That's the kind of crew from the Ted Lasso review. So if we are to do a Ted Lasso episode by episode this year, it'll be with those guys. Yeah. Episode 32, the dumpster fire with My Wife's Gonna Kill Me.
I think this is the episode I've listened back to the most.
Yeah.
Right.
It was such a fun episode. I've listened to this quite a few times back to it.
This is one of the episodes so on StreamYard, just a little bit of behind the production here. StreamYard, with the kind of most plans, they give you 50 hours. So we're on the kind of pro plan, or whatever, the middle plan. You get 50 hours of storage, and so you have to start deleting stuff. So obviously I download it, but I also run out of space in my hard drive with editing episodes and stuff like that. This is one of the ones where I've kept the original unedited video as well. Because it's actually, there's a lot of funny stuff before the actual podcast, but it's not broadcastable. But I've kept it just for my own.
Yeah. I think part of the reason I like this so much was the breaks. The break came off a little bit. It's like, you can swear. It's like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, Rich and he's swearing, huh?
Oh yeah.
So, and Matt Rod also dropped in there on that one. He just happened to be there because we did it. Basically, they did their show, their live stream, and then they hung around, and we joined with them.
They made a real effort to end that promptly to be ready to be on with us, which was really, really cool, really good of them.
Yeah. So, and it was really nice that Matt Rod was there because he ignored all our requests to come on our show.
we were trying to get him on,
which I may have mentioned once or twice during that episode.
Bless him.
So 33 was we had Eric LeBron and Chris Ferrone. They were on together, and David Williams and Eugene Unick were on the second half. So we had a great chat with those guys. Good friends with all of those guys now through Legion's Con and the podcast. So, just cool.
Some very talented people in that one.
Yeah.
34, we took up. Yes, there's talented people everywhere here on these Road to Legions Con ones. 34, then we had a break from the Road to Legions Con because there was a bunch of Mythic Legions news. So we recorded an extra episode discussing reinforcements and Mythic Weekend 2023. So we were getting excited about the most fun time of the year. 35.
Are you guys counting down towards it already?
No,
No,
the weather,
yeah.
like, okay, not to be weather bore, but like it's so cold and damp here, which we never get damp here, so it's the worst combination. I just want warm weather now. Anything springtime is going to make me feel so much more human. So that's all I'm focusing on for the moment, and we'll see how things are after that. Book our flights and all that good stuff. 35 was
more super talented folks.
Yeah, so it was with Noah Pratt, Anthony Velez, Stefan Delatour. They were on with us. Well, that was a fun one. Anthony Velez was kind of sitting on his porch with a load of motorbikes going by. So I was like, how do I get them out of the audio? But we got it. So when I started to learn, we had a lot of fun. And Noah didn't have the best connection, so he actually dropped in and out a couple of times. But as it was audio, you didn't really notice. So that's the beauty of the audio only versions sometimes. 36, then we did get a second date with Nate Birch, and we had a great chat with Nate.
Yeah, that excellent episode.
Yeah,
worth a listen.
That's one.
Yeah,
I think we talked. The episode was an hour and a half, and I'd say we talked an hour and a half also after the episode with Nate.
Yeah.
It was that type of a situation, and there was no rush to kind of get away, you know. Episode 37. Ooh, I remember this one. We had Legions there on, so those guys were cool. Although that was like Mike was at home, Brad was at a football game with his kid in the car, really like me.
Yeah.
But it worked out. He was.
That was surprisingly good, actually. The reception and everything, because he was sat in the car.
And then we had a disaster with Brian Almeida and poor Arthas, who I had to chop half the episode out because Brian had such a bad connection. He was trying to join us from New York Comic Con, which sounded good in theory, but didn't really work out. And then 38, we had Immortal Collections, so our booth buddies from this year, Giovanni, Brian Burke and Emil, and that was a super long episode, almost 3 hours long.
That was really long. There's such good conversations, though.
Yeah, again, more super talented, just all over these episodes, isn't it? Just really, really amazingly talented people.
Exactly.
I love getting Brian and Emil on at the same time too, because you can just plug Vombox, which still goes under the radar. I don't know how. Mal is fully on board with it now as well, sort of thing. So it's always good to get the two latest.
Got the Succubus set this last week. So yeah,
you suck your own bus.
That's going to say, yeah. Carry on, film time.
And we didn't have Brian or Emil back this year, but it was because they were on a bunch of other shows, and we had less spots this year on the Road to Legions Con, so we kind of focused on people that weren't kind of popping up on every other show. So that's what we tried to do anyway, you know.
And a little bit of a plug for the First Alliance group of people as well, really, wasn't there? So.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of more, it was more kind of we knew a bit more what we were doing, I suppose, in one way, you know, in terms of Legions Con at least. 39, one of the best episodes to go back and listen to because you had the Red Star of Kubaira story. And then we also did the G-Con predictions. I mean, wow, that's perfect. You got prediction episode and you've got a awesome Jeremy Gerard lore performed by us. So I don't know what more you want. That's what we if we could get more stories, we could do one of those every week.
That's also one of my favourite little meme things you did, John, when you first said,
"Oh yes,"
the line of The Apprentice. And I'm not sure what me and Mal were expecting, but it wasn't that. And the two of us just like fell about laughing.
Broke us, didn't it? Yeah, absolutely cracked.
Can you see it?
I think I managed to start the next sentence and then just broke.
Yeah. I could see. I was like, we have to do this again because I could hear your voice breaking. I was like, no, he's out of character already. Yeah, that was great. Loved that episode. A lot of work on those stories, though. So that's the only other problem.
I do enjoy doing them, but yes, it's
a lot of work on the before side in terms of getting the document ready and sorting out who does what line and color coding all the lines and doing the reading, which takes if you hear a 30-minute story, the reading's probably taken an hour minimum. And then the edit takes
bad at reading.
at least 4 hours for half an hour if you do it properly. So, but love doing it. But that's not a weekly thing you could do unless you were getting like a full-time salary for it or something. That's not really.
You'd be doing it every day then, wouldn't you? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Episode 40 then was our last Road to Legion's Con of that year, and it was with Eric, Brian, Lenny, Leland, and Rich. So Eric Miller, Brian C. They were on together at the start, and then we had the boys Lenny and Leland and Rich Kais, and that was a good chat. But I remember when I got those files from that episode, I had no file for Rich Kais, so in order to put that file together, I did have I had started after the disaster episode 12. I had a backup recording, which was everyone's recording. So when it came to their interview, I had to use my backup recording for a bunch of that interview where Rich was speaking. So Rich Kais, not Rich. Oh, Rich.
Remember in that episode, we was joking with all three of the second group. Oh, I bought things from you guys. You guys are a wallet drain. And then sure enough, I came back with 6 custom figures in total from the 3 of them. It's like, oh, damn it.
They do seem to hit your sweet spot, don't they?
They really do.
Style and character.
And did you buy from Lenny and Leland this year?
Leland had sold a figure that I wanted. I don't know who bought it ahead of me, but curse you. And then Lenny, I just bought some 3D parts.
Yeah. Cool.
So money was spent, but not on custom figures. Because as we all know, I cut right back on the custom figures.
Yeah.
This year.
You did. Just 2 hands.
Not as back as I wanted to, but yeah.
Whereas I increased the number I was... I need to not do that next year.
I'm almost finished my next custom. It's over there. I'm very happy with it so far. It's another cosmic. It's that cigar smoking...
it's a really good head.
Boar head from Pig Head Boar from Wolf King on a cosmic build that I've put a few other parts onto. So, and it's going to be yellow metallic and kind of purpley pinkish kind of cloth parts, sculpt. So anyway, we'll see that in due course. Episode 41 was recorded at Legion's Con in New Jersey with the cleaning lady knocking on the door to get out. And we had Jesse and Sean there and us 3.
Yeah.
And that was fun. That was a little bit easier than the first one we'd done in person because I'd kind of had a better idea of what to do and how to kind of move it along, and it was great.
It was fun apart from that cleaning lady. She was terrifying.
She was, yes. Yeah.
I thought she was going to break down the door with an axe or something and get out.
So yeah, that chat that we did on the morning after Legion's Con, the kind of Monday morning before we went to the airport, that was about 35-40 minutes. And then I also put in the hour-long stream we did with Legion's Lair guys and a few others. So that's all in there. So that's kind of a full...
Legion's Lounge.
Legion's Lounge, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. It's the celebratory champagne.
I missed you. Celebratory champagne. Nice.
in a kind of a basic glass, but there you go. Right, 42.
It's the only way to do it.
Back home from Legion's Con. These are our reflections from Legion's Con. It was amazing. We still can't put it into words, but that doesn't stop us trying. I can't remember that episode at all.
I have a feeling we're all still a bit fried, weren't we? I think all a bit of con crud and
yes, definitely. Sure. And then episode 43, we went through the G-Con Rising Suns reveal in depth, and we discussed each character and ranked them in order of preference. The big questions are whether Rich will choose a noble bear in his top 5 and whether Rich will pick a 2.0 figure as his favorite.
I was still healing a lot over the barbarians.
Yes.
But I think a 2.0 did make it into your top ones, didn't it? Because you liked the what we revealed.
Yes.
Dispatar.
Yeah, he's awesome. I'm looking forward to getting him.
Yeah. Episode 44 was back to basics with some news and figure reviews. Reaction to Jacob Marley and the Skullman Zolocon exclusive. And then in hand with the review of the Valiant Knight and the 2 Legion's Con exclusives. And then we get into the spirit of Christmas season with a little bit of Christmas song talk. Wow. That I have no recollection of that.
No,
you guys
I'm sure
know?
It was good though.
Yeah.
No, at all. No memory of that at all.
Episode 45, Cosmic Legions Wave 2 review. We go through a pick of the figures, and to round up the show, we step outside the realm of Legions and take a look at some of the recent toy reveals and releases that could be tempting your wallets. And I'm sure they were.
Well, I've probably got half of them upstairs.
Yeah.
Probably Monster Force around then.
Probably was, actually. Yeah.
True, yeah, probably was. Episode 46 was the 2023 awards. So we done one recently, same categories. That's when we'd set out the categories. So do you remember what won the 2023 figure of the year?
Was it Monkey King?
Monkey King, I presume.
Yeah, or Novian Lean, maybe. One of those two.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. They were both close anyway.
Yeah.
I remember I didn't send you a picture of me looking deep in thought, so you just grabbed one. So
yeah, I think I got one from screen grab from one of the shows.
Whereas for the latest one, I've got a proper good one. So
I think that screen grab was actually from the 57575. So then we had what episode are we on now? Sorry, Matt.
47 we're going to.
47. So this was 2024 season 2 kicks off the show. And we did a launch of our Patreon. So, and we also catch up with what we did over the Christmas holidays, and we go through the feedback from listeners, and that finishing off with our wild predictions for 2024. So, wow, we did a lot in that episode.
Which
start on the year with a bang.
Yeah, and they're the predictions we went over recently to see how close we were to them and not.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that was the episode I got them from. Yeah, and and of course, Patreons, we are a year in now, and can't thank you enough for supporting us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, everyone, try and get more content out there for those guys.
Yeah, well, one is out this week already. Our most anticipated movies of the year. And next week we'll have most anticipated series for 2025. So
plenty of content coming this year, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So episode 48, we had a great chat about the latest news, including a run through of the Poxus wave. What are you laughing at?
The movie and TV recommendations, which
You got them for free last year. Right?
Yeah.
We chatted about the latest Figure Obscura Rising Suns pre-order, which is about to come to a close. And yeah, the TV and latest news and what's on our current watch list. So it probably wasn't as comprehensive as we've done this year. So let's be honest. Episode 49 was Poxus has arrived at the Four Horsemen warehouse, and they've released some details about the shipping. Rising Suns wave has hit the retailers. We break down the various options for the retailers, and we do Q&A and discover many interesting things about each other and reminisce about the past. Wow, Q&A. And I need to go back and listen to that one.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Episode 50 was yet another year of the dwarf. So that was it was a what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because Anthony's going to kick off now because episode 100 isn't another year of the dwarf review.
Yeah, so that was bringing the band back together from episode 22, and we had Anthony and Guyon on again to talk all things dwarf. And if I remember well, that was very early in the morning for Anthony before he was heading off. I think his daughter was bringing his daughter to university or something after the Christmas.
We need an episode talking nothing but vampires. We've had like a few dwarf ones here. We need a vampire talk.
Do you have any? Yeah, is Steve O'Beg? Surely.
I was going to say get Steve O'Beg on. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There you go. So put out the bat signal to Steve O, and we'll do a vampire episode.
I'll see what I can do.
51 was alternative Mythic Legions bios. These were this was great.
Funny.
Yeah.
This is really good fun. Yeah, I love this one.
We should do that again. With the newer figures. Well, we could also do put them all back in play.
Well.
And Cosmic, everything. So we did latest news, and then we did alternative short bios for some of the characters, and we had to guess who the bio refers to. And yeah, it was funny, definitely. So I
think we've sorted out next week's content then.
Yeah, worth going back and having a listen to that one. It doesn't require too much prior knowledge of it or listening to anything else. It was just a fun, silly episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we didn't really, it was just a fairly basic, just come up with an alternative bio, do as you like. I did kind of like a 2 or 3, maybe maximum 1 sentence, a sentence and a half. Rich did some poetry, and I think Mal did a mixture of the both.
Yeah.
So it was interesting how that was. And 52 was What's Up with Arathir. So with the announcement of Rising Suns, we revisit the Arathir faction and look what could be added, improved, and revisited on future releases. So that's still relevant because we haven't got anything major for Arathir since. A couple of figures. Obviously, I think is it Genom in the most recent wave? It's Arathir. So be interesting to see what we get next, and if we're having a few more Arathir characters. Episode 53 is another one of my favorites. That's where Demon Wang came along.
Yeah.
What is Love? Also did a bit of work for the music on this episode, so that was great fun.
That's when I wrote pretty much a short story, wasn't it, about Freya and Gorga?
Yeah. Well, it must have been around Valentine's Day as well, mustn't it? So.
It was around It was February 16th we released it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we actually recorded it on Valentine's Day or very close to it.
Yes. And I think this was your idea, Rich?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. I loved it. Really loved it. And so we said Mythos is the place for love, some romantic, some not, but love nonetheless. Let's head on a journey into this not often seen side of Mythos. So that's a direct quote from your little intro.
But it was just something different, you know, that they don't really talk about love and romance particularly, so it seemed a perfect fit.
Absolutely. Shout at us if you want us to revisit that for Valentine's Day this year. 54 then was the start of a bunch of episode art that kind of had the same style. I don't know what I was going through, but yeah. We look at the retailer wave reveals on episode 54, and we have Pox's Wave figures in hand and give a first impression and round off with a chat about this week's in-stock sale. So that was me and Mal had them in hand. Pretty sure.
As is quite often the way these days.
Well, as I've been ordering mine from Emporium since then, I'm going to be like, we're going to, when we review this again in the future, going to be you two talking about Necronominous or whatever, and then 3 months later, I would start talking about Necronominous. So.
Yeah. Episode 55 was the in-stock sale, Mythic Legion in 2024, and listener questions. So there was an in-stock sale, obviously, around that time last year. There's also some
the reinforcements one.
Don't know. There's some.
I don't remember.
I think it might have been because I spent a lot of money.
Yeah. And we have some listener questions. And there's also some G.I. Joe classified talk in there. There you go. 50,
which
60.
is where you started ending up picking up some.
Yes, it is. It is. I'm still dabbling. 56 is the Army of Laodiceus, and Mal goes to America. So this week we take a look at what's next for the Army of Laodiceus. With only 16 figures currently in their ranks, they've had their hands full keeping the Legion of Arthur at bay, which means they're definitely due a fresh batch of warriors. We also talked to Mal about his upcoming trip across the pond to MuskeGCon, where the Four Horsemen will be attending, along with a big representation of the Legion's community. So, that was a fun one. Episode 57 was me and Guion, so I think that was the first episode without both of you.
Yeah. I listened to this in the car with
Trevor and Nate.
Nate and Trevor, yeah.
So Rich wasn't available for whatever reason.
No, I can't remember why I wasn't there.
Also,
wash my hair, probably.
What was it? Like, you can't read that on the art. What was I at? So me and Guion had a chat through the recent Legion's waves and do a little bit of All-Star 7 speculation, which that didn't happen. We also pick one figure from the line that goes outside of our usual wheelhouse, and which people might be surprised that we really like. So there you go. What is yours? I can't remember what one I picked.
No, I can't remember.
No, it wouldn't have been an ordinary Ethron carriage, let's face it.
No, probably. Maybe it would have been, because it's like, what character do I like, but you wouldn't think I like. So,
but even then, you really dislike them, John. I mean, it's nowhere near my level of hate for the House of the Noble Bear, but it's, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Episode 58 was Jeremy Gerard interview and Pox's Wave review. So the band are back together this week. Mal secured a great interview with Jeremy Gerard at MuskeGCon, so we kick off that episode with that. And we finally get to our Pox's Wave review and find out what we think and what are our favourite figures, and are there any misses? Was there a miss in the Pox's Wave?
I don't think so.
No,
I wouldn't say so. I didn't like one of the characters, but no, I don't think there was any misses necessarily.
And then 59 was a fun one with Trevor Williams and Nate Strong reminiscing about MuskeGCon and a bit of dirt behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. So that was great. Episode 60 was LegionsCon Day 1 reveal and future wave predictions. So the Day 1 figure pack, which was the Mythic LegionsCon figures, the Gaspar and Gorich.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, see if I couldn't remember which ones they were.
And continuing on with I was just thinking, what was the figures on Saturday at LegionsCon? The Mythics. Continuing with the theme of reveals, we have a go at predicting how the rest of the year will pan out for Mythic Cosmic Legions and Figure Obscura. We definitely got that wrong.
They got it.
Yeah.
Majorly wrong.
Because on the next episode, the Mythic Legion's mystery solved, ? The 4 horsemen have posted a mysterious image with a grid of coloured squares representing different factions in Mythic Legions. We attempt to solve the mystery.
I mean, I didn't get them for the right reason, but I got quite a few of these.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, you did.
I'll take the credit for that, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
And then 62 was our verdict on Mythic's, the Mysteries of Mythos. Are we mystery box fans? Are they for long-time collectors like us? Do they work for international collectors? And does any of it really matter? And then
that was a good episode because we were really, we were really honest about it.
And we were fair though. We did.
Yeah, fair, absolutely, yeah.
2 different font sizes there. What was that? What was that about?
I didn't want to say anything, John, but yeah.
Oh no, you can critique away. I think I'm okay. I think when we got more into YouTube, I had to do more focus on thumbnails, and I think I actually am getting better at them. So you can critique away up to this point for sure. Yeah, I think in hindsight, after getting all the ones, at least all the, not the warehouse finds, we can forget about them, right? They're not relevant really. They were just kind of bonus things. All the ones that they did production runs on, I got one of any of the ones I needed at Legion's Con, which was the Kador and Godfrey and all that.
But that was that. I don't think we had any problem with them doing the runs of the older figures. I think it was more just that a mystery box for the cost and the likelihood of getting one of those ones. It was a stretch, wasn't it, for us? It was, I did have a couple and I got a couple of things.
But I think it was good for new collectors and probably good for their major market, which is their home market. So
big time.
And from a marketing perspective, so I think...
I think we said, didn't we? If you were new or an American and did customizing, then it was fabulous because that $9.99 shipping rate.
And we certainly weren't salty about any of it.
Oh, God, no.
I know that for sure, and still haven't. Episode 63 was a crossover with the Mythic Enablers. So that was great fun. We chatted about their show, how I was involved a little bit with their show, and we had a lot of good laughs. And
we did our little builds, didn't we? Our character builds that we would do.
We did. That was on their show.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes, it was, wasn't it? We recorded both at the same time, didn't we?
So. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, all related to that, and that was a cool crossover. So I really enjoyed that one, and love those guys. They're great.
Really good bunch.
Yeah.
Even if you get a figure off from John and then just throw part of it on the floor straight away at Legion's Con.
It's called dropping, Rich. And the jet lag, I don't think there was alcohol involved at that point because we just done the setup. But it was definitely a lot of... I mean, the whole of Legion's Con, you feel like you're outside your body pretty much. It wasn't as bad this year, but the previous 2 years, I really felt...
This year.
Yeah, maybe you were the one that wasn't sleeping in the morning. Me and Rich seemed to be able to sleep a little bit longer in the morning than you.
I was just hanging after all the hassle of getting there this year.
Oh, that was...
didn't get to bed till 1 o'clock in the morning the first night there, and that just set me back the entire time.
I don't know what I was doing this week, but I was thinking of Legion's Con or whatever, and I was like, oh man, poor Mal this year is going to have to put up with some hassle.
Oh yeah.
I think
I'm just convinced.
Well, I think I've decided, breaking news, I might actually go a couple of days earlier than we were thinking, just to...
And we'll get there before you.
Well, I was thinking of do a maybe be able to visit New York for a couple of days or something like that.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I'd love to do that myself as well.
I'll decide.
Yeah, and I think if I'll go the same this year, so as if I'm going to intern. And if I'm not going to intern, I'm definitely going to New York that day for sure.
I'm at least doing.
Not me with that trip, John.
Yeah.
Add another couple, maybe. I'll see.
But you know it's going to be one of me or you again. We're just the accident-prone ones, Rich.
Yeah,
Mal
apparently
is
so.
gonna be, yeah, we're the ones with children, so we're just used to.
If they make me land at another airport again, I expect to see Bruce Willis there. They're going to have to drag him out and get him there.
This year, you'll have to get off the plane. I mean, I don't think it's too bad if you get diverted to another airport and you can sit in the plane for an hour and get up again. It's when you have to get off, get all your bags off, recheck them in, get a different flight. Yeah. Anyway, 64 was Cosmic Legions 2-pack and the Future of All Stars. So we run the rule over the Cosmic Legions Day 2 exclusive pack for Legions Con. How many would be picking up? 2 was the answer for me, plus a load more in the in-stock sale of the singles. Is Rich a fan? ? Is it a Novi and Lean expansion pack? Oh, I think we could be onto something there. All Stars is taking a break for 2024. What will the future hold? What are our priorities for figures? And what would we like to get the version 2 treatment of? There you go. 65 predictions. So
we do like our predictions.
We talked about the possible version 2. I'm sure Curtis was giving us ball ache for predictions because he doesn't like predictions. Mythic Legions version 2s we were predicting basically, and additionally we talk about what Figura Obscura might be around the corner. We certainly didn't get Anubis and Bastet, did we?
No. I was very happy to get that wrong because that was such a cool set.
Yeah. 66 was Outpost Axios review, and this was kind of cool because we talked about Outpost Axios reveal in our second episode. So, our first kind of proper episode in talking about the figures proper episode. So, there you go. Plus, if you liked the Tale of the Thousand Swigs that Jeremy dropped last week, hang it around until the end and you'll be able to hear our performance of the story. So there you go. Episode 66 has Tale of the Thousand Swigs. And speaking of Anubis and Bastet,
I think this is one of your
67.
best thumbnails myself.
You like that one, yeah?
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah. Obviously took the product pictures from Trevor, but I asked him before, is it okay if I do that? And he said it was fine. So I'm cool with that. And it's all to promote the brand anyway. In the end,
one thing I would suggest, John, maybe if you do this again, maybe a little more blue next time.
Right, I got the joke this time. In our was it one of our Patreon episodes? You said that recently, and I said, look like an idiot. So, and Rich takes us through the Egyptian god family tree. There you go.
Oh, that was good. I enjoyed that.
Quite fun, yeah,
and then Mal rounds out the episode with one of his best one-liners ever.
Can't remember.
There you go.
I just say things when they come.
Got to be a good one. Episode 68, Mythic Legions Ashes of Agbendor. We get it all wrong. So the Ashes of Agbendor wave is about to be revealed, and we do our best to try and predict what might be in store. There's also a short cameo appearance from two. There's also a short cameo appearance from. Oh, that was with Ben and Anna. So this was me and you, Mal, alone in this episode.
Oh, was it? Oh, right.
Yeah, because my kids were at the start.
Ah, right.
And we follow up on last week's episode. We have a short in-hand review of Anubis and Bastet. So, wow, we got them quick. And then 69 was Ashes of Agbendor, our verdict. So, the reveal. And this is still our most watched one on YouTube.
This is the one that caused the stir.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
What did we say? We need to say more of that.
Nothing bad. It was the comments about some of the extra parts, wasn't it? And perhaps some of the characters not being to everyone's liking.
Yeah, the reuse of Azza's head.
Yeah,
or the Thrace head on Azza. That people didn't like that at all.
Yeah, and the centaur, obviously, of course.
That centaur's amazing. Shut your filthy mouth.
I'm really looking forward to the gold skeleton. because those wings, it's just such a nuts figure. I really can't wait.
And then the next couple of episodes, so then there was a point in the year, so this was June last year, and you boys weren't available for a couple of weeks. So we're like, okay, what do I do? And I decided to do a bunch of interviews with our Patreons. And that's what we did, 70 and 71. Those interviews are great. And the way I did it was I scheduled half an hour with each person, interviewed them for, didn't have to be the whole half an hour, but we got through had a little bit of a structure and a bit of a chat, and put all those interviews together. And some of them were recorded before others, and I just put them together the way they worked the best. And we got those 2 episodes out. And then 72, we were supposed to be back together, but we missed it, and I put together a episode of the highlights of our lore episodes, including the origin of our intro and of course the Mythic Legion's Tactics saga. So that's a good one if you've missed some of the earlier episodes.
I was thinking that's 2 episodes in a row I missed, but then this is around when I turned 50, so I was probably just morbidly depressed for 2 weeks.
Were you not away? Was this the time you cracked your head?
No, that was a bit later.
Oh, was that a bit later?
That was later, yeah. That was July.
Wow, you're a busy boy.
Maybe on holiday then.
73 was Summer of Cosmerium.
It's a good little summer.
Yeah, and we kicked it off with a 20% sale at the retailers and the reveal of a brand new figure, which is still available on their website. First available at IshCon 2024, the Heavy Gunner. And we dive into all the details, plus we have a look at the retailer pricing for the latest Ashes of Bendor wave. So I looked at Big Bad recently, actually, and all the Cosmic Legions figures are still available on Big Bad at the retail price. All.
Whereas the Ashes of Agbendor, I think they've sold out of every one, haven't they? On Big Bad now.
But I think they've obviously tightened up the pre-orders on those.
Yeah. I think Cosmics is just at this point isn't as popular as it, and again it comes back to it's like really early in the line. I'm guessing Mythics around this time, they probably weren't producing as many. In fact, actually, we know Mythics up until COVID. You could pick them up on Big Bad, couldn't you?
Yeah,
true. For a long time, and then I missed out on a bunch because I didn't buy them all at once.
We needed another pandemic, basically. What you're saying?
Oh no.
No, I think that the other thing with Cosmic is competing with one of the best action figure lines of all time, which is Mythic Legions.
Yeah.
Made by the same people, but they're the same wallets, basically. And then, of course, the idea with Cosmic is to get a bit outside of that and get some of the more sci-fi fans while keeping a bunch of the Mythics fans and the Four Horsemen fans in as well. But I'm always surprised with our guest episodes and listen to people on some other shows. A lot of people don't collect Cosmic that are major Mythic collectors.
Yeah.
And I'm always very interested in that, in hearing that, and kind of surprised.
I think the comic is going to help.
Yeah, that's one of my predictions. I said it last week.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Is going to clear out that Big Bad of their inventory.
I think those bigger spacesuits will help as well when Ox Crew comes in.
More variety.
Yeah.
Different scales. Different scales is good. I noticed from doing the Cosmic Customs, that I'm always trying to get slightly different scales on them because I just think that's fun with the different characters when they're not just a basic human, type character. When you have I have a bunch of pig head Cosmic characters, they can be any size. They can be dwarf scale, they can be ogre scale or brute scale or whatever, So it's fun to do, or they can be in between. I like that scale where you use the kind of dwarf, half the dwarf leg. It's almost like the Monkey King kind of size.
Yeah.
74 was a great one. That was What Goes with Legions. Have you ever wondered to yourself, would this figure go with Legions?
This was another one where Rich could have gone on for another few hours, I think.
Yeah. Was it Trevor that made the comment of like, I really like the show, but is it be quicker if Rich did stuff that didn't go with Legions? Like, cheers, Trevor.
Well, a lot of these episodes where they're, we're searching for an idea, Rich has come up with a lot of good episode ideas that we've done. So this is another Rich special.
I got an hour and a half train journey tomorrow, so watch out for another load of ideas coming through.
You just pop them into your spreadsheet. I don't care what spreadsheet it is, as long as you share it with us. 75 was Want to Buy Some Legions, so that was crossover with Matt Drake from Toylytics, who I've got to know well since then, and obviously through Legions Con, and we had dinner with Matt at Legions Con and hung out a bit, and I'm a big fan of Matt for himself, also for his channel. I love his channel and what he does and his commitment to that. It's great, and he's just such a nice guy, genuine guy.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Yeah. 76 was story time. So Korganox log entry 603.24, Sacrifice of the Blue Shield, and The Stand of the Angels of Cirrus. So a lot of story in that one. Another good one.
Yeah, I was pretty rough as we were recording a couple of them, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were sick, weren't you?
Yeah. I think they came out okay, didn't they?
Oh, they did, yeah. But I ended up doing the Korganox one, I think, just because on my own, because you were like, you do it. We'll do the other two and you do that one. That's grand.
Yeah.
77 was Ox Crew Book 2, Harrow Zone predictions. So we'd obviously got the teaser of Harrow Zone.
Sorry, I've just read what's in the thumbnail. So this is where I smash my head, because Rich's battle damage.
Yes. Another wave of Cosmic Legions figures will finally be revealed this weekend at IshCon. We go through the hints dropped thus far and take a chance with some predictions. There's also Rich's battle damage, Skeleton Legion Builder 2, Legions Con pins, and Korganox log entry 703.24. Okay, maybe that was the one then. Don't know. And then 78 was Harrow Zone, Our Verdict, Ox Crew Book 2. You may have guessed this week we take a look at the recent Cosmic Legions reveals. And we also had a chat with David Williams. So when we saw that they had David there and they revealed his awesome design or kind of build for Buzz Off that he'd done the custom, they were basing it on the Antiphillies figure. It was based on that. So we had David on for a chat. And anytime you can get David on for a chat is a good thing. Also, this is my favorite intro I've done on our YouTube videos, because I animated the figures appearing in the intro. So this I do two thumbnails now for every episode. I do a square one for the socials, and I do the the vertical or the widescreen kind of size one, that whatever it's called, for the video. And on that one I did it so that the characters kind of move into place or kind of appear in the different places, and that was just me trying to learn something. So but I realized I can't do that for every episode because it took hours. And I think it was a case that we had recorded this in advance, so I had a few days before I needed to have it up, and that's why I did something like that. So there you go. You give a man too much time, he does something stupid. 79 was our Legions Con 2024 plans. So you see the two heads plus surprise guest. Do you remember who that was?
Probably Curtis, the amount of times he's on stuff.
Yes. He was doing his trying to be on every Mythic.
Of course he was. Yeah.
Gauntlet.
Yeah. So with the Legions Con schedule announced, we go through and reveal our plans, what we have in store. We'll also be bringing 2 exclusive head sculpts for sale. And there's a special guest interview. You all know who he is. So, big enough hint. Episode 80 was What's Missing from Mythic Legions.
With another surprise guest.
Waffles.
This was the run of Waffles making a racket whenever we tried to record, wasn't it? He slowed down a bit now.
He was obviously, he was getting the sweats during the summer. It was obviously a bit warm in his cage.
Yeah.
So that's why he was rattling it. So we discussed what might be missing from Mythic Legions, from the carts for the horses to the bulbous pufferfish headmen. We covered a lot of ground. We also faff our way through the Legions Con floor plan, so it was obviously my fault, and take an in-hand look at the Skeleton Legion Builder 2. We also completely derail right at the end. So
I can't remember what happened. I guess we just got silly.
Yeah.
I remember the bulbous pufferfish guy.
I'm going to be looking in the next week or two to see what old episode starts to get a few listens again. Based on this episode. That's going to be funny. What have we said that people have gone back? 81, making characters with Mythic and Cosmic Legions. There are many characters in the public domain. We set ourselves the goal of building 5 characters from Legion's parts with a tiny bit of help from the form of 2 or 3 newly tooled parts and soft goods. Which would your 5 characters be? Yes, this is one I need to listen back to, actually. Definitely. Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure you guys had some very creative stuff there.
I think we all did. I think we all did a good job
from
my memory.
And who nicked too much from the tooling budget? I remember somebody.
I had quite a few new parts in some of mine.
And you, of course, naturally, Rich.
Obviously, yes. I think I said I wasn't going to, and I think one of mine had like 7 different new parts or something like that.
Episode 82 was a Rich special, custom factions for Mythic Legions. This week we try to chat about the customs we're working on and then take an in-depth look at Rich's custom faction, the Red Hellions. Have they expanded since, Rich? What's the update in the Red Hellions?
They're the same number. I've one of them was, and I don't think I ever showed it, but I had a werewolf character. But that head works wonderfully on a Red Lantern body from McFarlane. So that's,
yes, you showed it to us.
Yeah, that's going that way. And then Emperor Mang's Guard, I think I've decided to strip that one down as well. But I got 2 new ones from Legion's Con, thanks to Eugene's wonderful gift of when he gave us each our own character, and that's a Red Hellion General. So he's in there. And then also the wonderful generous gift from
Rocket Fist.
Ben from Borderland Horde, who gave me the snake guy. And again, he's going to be in my Red Hellions. He's the master of tongues in the Red Hellions.
Right. Episode 83. Listener questions. Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions,
pancakes,
gerbils, and cats. This week we answer a bunch of listener questions and we have a whole lot of laughs in the process. Do we really, though? This was when he did the whole squeaky noise. That was pretty special.
That's running on the wheel, I'm guessing.
He was going for it, that one, yeah. Is that one of your cats, John?
That's my cat, Ghost. So that's Mama of all the other cats, yeah. She's special. She's awesome, but if she's not in the form for you, that's what she does. You can easily get a photo of her doing that just by kind of, pet her on the kind of back of her back, and then she just looks up and spits at you. Yeah. Incredible. So that was good. So another listener's questions. 84 was our reaction to the Armory experience. And we covered some of our latest customs.
Put together the Armory before Kirby had done his thing.
Yeah, before Kirby had done his awesome little widget kind of app thing or whatever. So yeah, that was unfortunate for my time, but hey.
This is where you embarrass yourself, basically, John, because you're just outdone by
I mean, his was way better, but we had to we had to do something to get the show done. So
the idea across,
85 then kicked off the road to Legion's Con. This is when the YouTube thumbnail stuff started to get more. I think on YouTube thumbnails, people like to see people in them. So I started to do more of that kind of stuff. So we kicked off with Anthony Houseel and Chris Ferrone about the First Alliance. Had a great chat about that.
That picture of Anthony holding the swords still makes me nervous.
Yes, that was pretty much
over a year ago
the time
now,
he
and
was
it still
trying
makes
to
me
chop
nervous.
your head off. Yeah. 86. Then we had the Immortal Horde. So we had Borderland Horde and Immortal Collections on, and we chatted to them separately on the episode. So I think Immortal were first, and then Borderland. That was great to get to know Borderland a bit before we hung out at Legion's Con, and we knew Tristan and Carlo from before, but still always great to chat to them. And then we had 87 further alliances with Detour, Matt Stein, and Giovanni. Giovanni didn't make it in the end to Legion's Con, for obviously good reasons, in that they had that storm down in Florida, I think, and that was the reason he didn't make it, which is entirely understandable, and it was a shame that we didn't get to hang out, but we still had a great chat. So yeah.
Although Matt gave me all sorts of grief because I wasn't there for the episode that we interviewed him.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So he said I was deliberately avoiding him. I was like, dude, I was on holiday. Now, did I go on holiday to avoid you? This is a question.
Yeah, this is another question. Yeah.
Sounds like deliberately avoiding to me.
And it was always great to speak to those guys.
Yeah, Steph, awesome. It's always good to get Steph on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, Steph was in great form as well, and he was in his basement right in the thick of work. And this is where we arranged with him with the swords, the blue swords that some of you may have got off us from Legion's Con. This is where Steph kind of proposed that to us, and we were like, absolutely. Bring it on, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. 88 was Dennis Derby and Mark Calvo, Too Much Talent. So 2 separate chats with those guys. It was great. I mean, we'd been meaning to get Mark on for a long time. Obviously, Mark is in Europe, in our time zone, and it just never kind of lined up for whatever we were doing. And, then we were going to have him on with Ralph, and obviously poor Ralph passed away. So, yeah, great to finally have Mark on, and he's a great supporter of the show as well. He listens every week and posts it on his Instagram. So, and Mark is going from strength to strength, doing awesome custom by awesome custom. He's building up a great reputation for himself in the community, and well deserved.
Yes, I'm going to have to put another order in with him sooner rather than later.
Well, let me know when you are, because I'm ordered from him recently, got a bunch of the snake necks and a bunch of other heads, but I want a couple of other things from him.
Okay, we'll do. And Mal, you can chuck your stuff in because John's got some stuff to send to me anyway. So, or to you as well. So,
oh yeah, Mark sent to me, and I'll send to you. Yeah, yeah. We'll do it soon then, because I want to send that stuff to you. Anyway, okay, we can talk about that after. 89 was Arthas and Blazing Art and the Sirs, and that was Sir Brett Stoddart and Sir Greg, Lord of the Armory. Future Lord of the Armory.
So Ugchak, Lord of the Armory.
Yeah. I liked how I got the the pictures here, they just worked out well.
Yeah.
Especially Greg just lying in the letters there. And Arthas, obviously. And that was both those pictures are from of Arthas and Blazer. That picture that you sent to me from them.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just reversed the picture of Blaze. He was in the car, and I just flipped it, so he's looking the other way. And
yes, I was arranging when they were going to come on, and coincidentally, the two of them just happened to be together at that point, sort of thing. So it was like, yeah, we'll chat now, and we'll arrange a time. He's like, brilliant. There we go.
So 90 was the final countdown for Legion's Con was David Williams and Thomas Bellet and Thomas the Cat and Eugene Unick and Chris James. So that was fun. Another fun one. A lot of
There's definitely a thing with animals on these thumbnails, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm a big animal fan, no more than yourself. You prefer them in action figure form mostly. But I think you're also a big softie for animals. I know by you.
I am, yes.
Yeah. Said a year ago, I'm not into cats. Now is like totally obsessed with these two little.
Oh yeah, my wife just laughs at me because I'm like, I'm not a cat person at all, and then there's a cat cuddled up to me, and I'm like, oh, you're right. And it's like, yeah, she's like, yeah, you're not a cat person, definitely not.
Yeah, this evening I decided to just take an hour to myself, and I was sitting there watching some documentary on Netflix, and Ghost came up and just lay on me, and it's so cold, even in the house is heated obviously, but cats are warm. Cats are like 39 degrees is their body heat. So he just sat on my chest above a blanket that I was under on the couch. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. And then, of course, after half an hour, she got up and I had to kind of get up anyway. So, yeah. 91 was Jeremy. So our plan with the Road to Legion's Con this year was last episode before Legion's Con, Jeremy worked back from there.
Yep.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
Because obviously we booked Jeremy in first before that. And we had a little hiccup with Jeremy and he missed the date. Do you remember that?
I do.
I kind of blanked it out now, but yeah. And obviously he accommodated us later in the week. But because we were a week or two in advance with the recordings, it didn't affect the publication date. So that was good.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me about the mess up that I did with Blaze and Art.
Blaze and Art, yeah.
I gave him completely the wrong time.
I was going to make stuff there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no, it's good to give listeners the background to the stuff. Episode 92 is my favorite episode from this year. Probably my favorite episode of all time.
Yeah, I think
it's not videoed. It's not on YouTube. I just love it. Three of us chatting in the room. We got everything set up nicely, and we could have gone on for ages.
Oh,
yeah. So that was great. And then 93 was back from G-Con, talking about the reveals from G-Con. And you see them all there. The dragon is lighting the number on fire. And there's also the is it the book there in the background? The little teaser for the book?
Yes.
It is,
the pictures from the front.
And the sideshow stuff. And
all the other stuff underneath, yeah.
94 is what happened at Legion's Con. So we took you through our Legion's Con halls. I remember having to take a bunch of pictures for that.
That's such a terrible picture of me.
Yeah. My apologies, but this is what we had. And we also went through all the photos we took at Legion's Con. So that was fun.
Was that our whole episode as well?
Yeah,
where we showed
halls, yeah. So bunch of 3D. I still go back to that picture when I'm planning customs now, because I've obviously put a lot of those, sorted them into, I've been organized. I've sorted them for once into tubs with foam in between the different layers and whatever. But I don't want to dig through all of those to see if I have a part. So I'm going back to the picture I took of all the stuff I got Legion's Gone to see if there's a part in there I can use for a particular custom. So
remember, I got you the pictures for that one about a week and a half before because I had COVID. So it's like, well, I'm bored. I may as well just get them out and photograph them while I'm stuck in the living room.
Oh, that put a firecracker up my ass as well, because I was like, oh my God, Rich has sent me stuff already.
The last minute king has done it in advance.
It also made it easier because it's like, okay, this is what he has. Now I know what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's always easier when you see somebody first. 95 was Figura Obscura. People probably almost remember these now if they're
a couple of weeks ago.
And Ninian Infantry. So, and we talk about the Ghost of Christmas Pass. I didn't like it.
I did.
Nope, I didn't.
Like bought several. One to use with the alternative head. One just have the different parts. I've set her up today in my newly installed or newly put up cabinets. So.
Very good.
We need a video tour, Mal, when they're done.
Oh, gosh.
We do indeed, yeah.
Showing off most of my house. That's the only problem with that one.
I'll take a few videos and send them over to me, and I'll put it up on YouTube. I'll put them together so that we don't show too much your house away. 96 was rating our 2024 predictions. So that's
fun. About as smug as I can look.
Yeah, I love that smug. I said, Rich, can you send us a smug photo? 3 seconds later, I got this photo. That was quick.
He just took a photo of himself.
Yeah, just took a selfie.
A normal photograph, yeah.
97, end of year awards.
Always a fun episode, I think.
Always a fun. We will do that as long as we're doing this show. We will do the end of year rewards. There's no reward yet.
There's no rewards, just awards.
Yeah. sending the Four Horsemen a trophy. Give that to Ninian Infantry. That's one of my old golf trophies, by the way, in the thumbnail.
Nice.
Yeah, I won a crate of Chinese beer as well as that trophy for that tournament.
The beer sounds better than the trophy, to be honest.
Yeah. Jing Chao.
Nice.
I like Jing Chao.
Oh, the Jing Chao. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, it's nice beer.
One of my favourites. Yeah.
Especially
I think
if
it's
you
made
have spicy
from rice, isn't it?
Yeah. It's one of those, it's like Cobra beer with Indian food. It just works. Yes. I don't know why. It's like, they know what they're at. It's like, you have this with your curry. You have this with your Chinese meal.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That actually works. It's like wine and cheese, you know? 98, Mythic Legion strong start to 2025. I liked this one as well. We kind of got the moment. And 99 was our predictions for this year.
Another fun episode. I always enjoy doing the predictions, whatever people think of them.
I love Rich always leans into the picture. You ask him to do some sort of a stupid selfie for a stupid thumbnail, and he's like, absolutely, I'll make the biggest effort possible.
Channeling Professor X.
Yeah. I can imagine your kid having to do that for you. Like take the photo or whatever, or your wife, your long-suffering.
It was my long-suffering wife, yeah.
What?
I think she was literally in bed, and I was like, before you go to bed, can you take a picture? And she's like, oh, come on. I'm knackered. Like, just get a picture of me. And she's like, okay.
I'm so happy the photo was in focus, because she was probably going like this when she was, shaking her head and she was taking it. So 100 not out, as they say in cricket.
Yep, 100 down, 2,000 to go.
Yeah, to catch up with some of your favorite podcasts, that might be that much. Yeah, unbelievable.
I don't know about you guys, but I've had an absolute blast doing all of this.
Oh yeah,
it's been great.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I say to people, I don't really, with the utmost respect, I'm very grateful for everyone who listens, but I just do it to talk to a couple of mates about really nerdy stuff that no one else will talk to me about for a couple of hours a week. So that's my reasoning for it. So
absolutely,
it's always fun, always cheers.
Yeah, my wife is a German teacher, but they have this digital science subject that all the teachers get lumped with every year, one digital science class, and it's about technology and whatever, and there's a curriculum, whatever, but she wants me to come in and present to the class about how to do podcasts, how to make a podcast.
Oh, okay.
So I'll probably be doing that this year. In
Is
English,
your German up to
mind
that?
you.
I was gonna say.
No. I was going to say, I said, I'm only doing it in English. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. F them if they don't know English, kind of thing. But they should, because apparently they're studying English. But, it's kind of a case where, I was studying German in school too. But if some guy came in and told me how to do podcast in German, I'd have been like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Forget it.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So that's the crack. Let's see what we have going on in Legions. Jeremy was out in LA at a con.
Yeah.
We have.
It's been another exciting year. I mean, there was so much, it's 10 years, it's 25 years. But I think by the sounds of this year, it's just going to carry on like that anyway.
It does.
It's going to get
it sounds like it's going to be
wave of it, figures, reveals, news, new things. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see what next week brings for episode 101, but we'll have something there for you. And obviously Patreon, so you get the TV series episode as well next week. So all fun and games. I'm gonna do a lot of customizing this week. I'm getting I'm in that zone at the moment, so I'm enjoying it. Before the weather improves, and I'll try and get out and lose a bit of the belly. Good, wouldn't it?
Well, I'll be up in North Wales this weekend, so expect lots of, I just thought about this, and what if we do that? And, well, this could work, messages, so.
Brilliant. I love it. I love it when you're bored with your family and thinking about toys. Well, boys, enjoy your beers tomorrow night, and Rich,
Cheers.
best
Thank
of
you.
luck,
Will do.
on Wednesday at the conference.
Yes. I'd like to apologise to Mal now, the amount that I'm moaning I'm going to do tomorrow night about how sore I am, having had a deep tissue massage tonight.
From Yuri or whatever his name was.
Yes, that wasn't his name, but yes. Remember, everybody, stay safe out there. You got to be around to hear episode 101.
And make sure you get that deep tissue massaged.